Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
Please put up these. Hello. Good morning. We are audible.
Morning, Shiv. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Hello, can you hear me, Shivaji?
Yeah, I can.
We'll just wait for another 2-3 minutes so that the rest of the people can join.
Sure.
I'm feeling a little more human today after having had a haircut yesterday. But 2.5 months, I had not been able to have a haircut, and my hair was like, जो भी थोड़ा बहुत बचा हुआ है, it had grown long. Yesterday, my son arranged for an urban club person to come home, and day for yesterday, in fact. At last, I had a haircut.
So how are things in Jaipur? It's quite serious, I
Hot.
guess. Hot.
Hot in all respects. I can see quite a few people joining in. Let me introduce my team members. The one you can see right now with headphones on is Chef Vinod Chauhan.
Okay. Hi.
And this is Vinod Chauhan. And I can see only him.
Good morning. Good morning, sir.
Who else? I can see Shivani. Shivani, come on screen.
Ruchika ma'am is there. Palsar is there.
Shivani, can you hear me? Shivani, Akshay, then Chef Malakar is there.
Good morning, sir.
Morning. Can I see you, Shivani?
Sir,
Or is it
Ruchika here.
Ruchika ma'am.
Ruchika,
Yes,
can
sir.
you
Yes,
make
sir.
yourself visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So one, just for a second. Still a second.
Yes, this is Dr. Ruchika Kulsreshta. She is
Morning.
program coordinator for our tourism and travel management course, which is BTTM. She is a veteran in this field and a very active member. Who else I can see?
I can see
Shivani
Mr.
has not.
Shubhra Gopal.
Mr. Subroto Pal, but where is Subroto? I can't see Subroto.
I can see Mr.
Subroto
Subir
is
also.
Yes, Subir Malakar. He is the chef.
Oh,
Vinod Chauhan is a chef. Subir Malakar is a chef, and we also have Dr. Kunal Seth, who is the senior most chef in our team. Where is Abhishek?
Sir,
Is there sir?
he's there only.
Do we wait for another couple of minutes?
Right, so it's only 11, so maybe in a couple of minutes we can start.
Because I'll take just about a couple of minutes time to introduce the speaker and then we can start.
Right.
Yes, Subroto, I can see you now. Mr. Subroto Pal. He is what I can call him is a pillar, the strongest pillar of Amity School of Hospitality.
wow.
And he
Under your
makes
guidance,
my job. He makes my job very, very simple because I have become very good at deflecting my responsibilities onto somebody else. Anything comes my way, I just direct the gun to Subroto.
It is an honor, sir. Thank you, sir.
The students are slowly joining in. Raviraj, I can see. Hridayansh, I can see.
I asked you to join.
Raviraj, how are you doing? Hridayansh, how are you doing?
I'm good, sir. Thank you. How are you, sir?
Last I saw you, you had grown a beard. And Hridayansh, how are you doing?
Very well, sir. I'm really good. How are you?
I am also good. But then missing the campus, missing all the young faces, missing my residence, missing my school.
I think nowadays everyone is missing our department and university college. The students are bored. Right, sir.
Yes. Now I am slowly starting. Otherwise, it will be a little late.
Right,
Let people join in subsequently. I take this opportunity to introduce the speaker today, Shivaji Ghoshajra. My association with Shivaji goes back for about 31 years. I'm talking about probably the year 88, 89. I was with IIBM, Indian Institute of Business Management, Department of Hotel Management in Patna, which was my first teaching experience. And there was this strapping lad of around 18, 19 years of age, were absolutely ramrod straight. I could make out from his body language, from his sense of discipline, and that he must have been had some kind of an army background, which came true later, and it came to know that he's the son of a retired army officer, like Colonel Ghoshajra. And then after passing out, we lost track for some time. Then again regained connection around the year 2000 when he was in Calcutta, and probably, if I'm not mistaken, he was working for Domino's.
Yeah.
And that is the time when he got married. And I distinctly remember attending his marriage reception also. He's married to a very sweet lady called Shoheli. She is an accomplished singer. And by the way, Shivaji also sings wonderfully well. He's a beautiful singer. He has a son who this year only has got admission into Vaksha, which is the Welcome Group School of Hospitality Administration at Manipal. And he is his interests, to my knowledge, are spreading across Bangalore and Mumbai and probably other places now. I'm not very sure. And uh, one of the friends that I have now, Shivaji, I'm really proud to have a friend like you. So, Shivaji, the stage is yours. You can start.
Good morning.
I request
Once again.
I request all the participants to mute your mics, please.
Good morning, sir. Really appreciate the talk that you introduced myself, and it's been a great association for sure. Over the years of around about 31 years that I've been with you, associated with you. And today I again go back to those days when there are fresh participants into this group also, and I recall those memories to the fullest. It was so fun filled. It was so much of a learning experience. It was so much of fun to be associated with those kind of friends to choose from, and the faculty which we had, a best of the faculty that we had in our institute. Just to talk about myself, as you rightly said, I am a son of an army doctor, and I did my hotel management from Indian Institute of Business Management, Patna, from the batch 1988-91, and post that I first started my career with Hotel Marina, which is in New Delhi, and I joined them as a management trainee way back in 1991. And thereon, after doing a management training program of about a year or so, I shifted. I worked with other hotels, which was I worked with the Oberoi's, I worked with the Taj, and then I worked with the Park. I was stationed in, I was posted in Park, Kolkata, where I worked with, I was in both the, categories of accommodation management and also food and beverage service management. So this was both my core into my, my career, and still I am into that field. I have never left my core to what I am today and doing today. So once I did, I was there with hotels, then I thought, I should go back and try some other, ventures in terms of getting into fine dining restaurants, getting into quick service restaurants, getting into, food retail. Yeah, so that I have more exposure in these fields, and wherein I joined in the QSR segment. I was with Wimpy's to start with, and then I was there with Domino's Pizza for quite some time. I was there for about 9 years with Domino's, and thereafter I thought, I should even try food retail, and that is when I joined the Pantaloons, and post that I also joined the Reliance Retail into live food segment, right, to be in the food and beverage services. Now, having said that, there were a lot of challenges and everything which came into force. But as a young kid, what happened with me was, I was a very active boy. Active boy in the sense I was full of adventure, full of, josh in me, and I wanted to do things which was really impossible to, venture out for. All that started happening with me, and I was a kind of a person who used to run for, challenges and adventures. Why I'm saying this is because this has helped me in the later, part of my life, to take challenges. Now, coming back to, the opportunities and challenges that were there, in my entire career of this about approximately 30 years, where there were lots to talk about, but there were few which I can talk about is when I just joined after passing out, I joined Hotel Marina, and as a management trainee, and I used to work with the entire team. I always believed in teamwork. I always believed that I should work with the entire team, right from the stewards to even the managers. So my hardship and my connect with the entire team was so close, right, that it gave a lot of confidence and belief in people on me, because I was very new and I was very young, and there were stewards, and as you always know, in the industry, there are always experienced and old people working in these kind of organizations, wherein they take more of a new joinees to undergo vigorous challenges and everything. So one day there was a challenge wherein I was doing a morning shift, and all of a sudden I was in the coffee shop. It was a morning shift where I went to the hotel at around 5 in the morning, and the breakfast started somewhere around 7:15. And all of a sudden, then I started, I felt that there was nobody around. There was nobody, besides me to work, right? And then I understood that the entire team has gone on a strike. The entire hotel has gone on a strike. Now the hotel, the morning shift, I was the manager in command, right, for the whole hotel and also the F&B. Now I didn't know what to do. There was a situational challenge, and and the hotel was full, almost full, and guests started coming into the coffee shop for the breakfast, and I had no clue as to what I should be doing, right? And I knew for sure that I alone cannot do it, because it's not only about the service part of it, it's also the production back end, that there was no support. It was only one of the senior chefs who was available, and it was difficult for anybody to handle the whole kitchen as a whole. So having worked with the team at the ground level for these days or months, I created a confidence on the entire team, whether they being a steward or the commies or whatever they were in the production. They really had trust and confidence, and they believed me to what I was. So I just thought once for myself that I should go and request them, to safeguard, to understand my situation. And I went and, I spoke to the team, the staffs, the employees. And I said, see, this is the situation where I can understand that you have, certain, demands from the management. But I've been very close and closely associated with you. and I'm the manager in command in the morning hours. So I requested them, to call off the strike till the time, the senior manager comes into the force, and believe in myself so that at least, this breakfast, time goes off. And to my, surprise, it was the entire, the team who said we would go back to work just because of Shivaji. We would not want him to get into a problem from the management. And believe me, that was the first instant when I was approximately about 21 years, wherein this was a situational problem which came in, and with my connect, with my going along with the team, they really helped me out in this kind of a situation to come out from. That was my first experience, on a situational challenge which I faced. There were many as such to talk about. I hope everybody can hear me.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Yes, all.
Okay. I'm talking more on the situational aspects and the opportunities and challenges that we face into the industry, because that is what the program is all about for today. Coming back, I was with Park Calcutta, and I'm sure that you are aware of the Hero Cup which happened in 1993. And myself, I was there I was the second in command in Atrium Cafe, which was the recently opened, a cafe with the Park Hotel, which had an atrium effect, and it had about 24 liqueur coffees, and it was me as a second in command in that unit, along with my senior, Mr. Bitan Bose. I'm sure that many of you would be knowing him, Mr. Bitan Bose. We both were there in the coffee shop, and it was,
Bitan Bose is now very senior faculty with IIHM Kolkata.
Correct. So we both were there stationed, and we had all the preparations because Atrium had opened recently, and we were expecting, a rush on the finals of the Hero Cup, which was, India was in the finals. So, that was the day when we were expecting a huge rush in Atrium Cafe, because it was a day and night match, and, we were expecting the, crowd to come in by around 11:30 at night. So we were all prepared for it. We had a tough day, throughout the day, arranging for the pre-rush preparations and everything. It was around 12:30, and then we saw, India won the match. And we were just waiting. We were just waiting for people to come in. We were just waiting for the people to come in, and we were there till about 12:30 at night, waiting for people to come in. And it was only, couple of tables that was there, and there was no rush at all. So we said, okay, Bitan said, let's take some rest. So telling the station captains, we said, let us take a 10 minutes break and be here. So me and Mr. Bitan, we went to the F&B room, and by the time we came back, we saw the lobby of the F&B section was, it was like a fish market. It was like a fish market, and the coffee shop was full. Yeah. And you know, since Atrium was very new, we didn't have much trained, you know, people in terms of making those 24 liquor coffees. It was only me and Mr. Bitan Bose and the bartender who was missing on that day. Yeah. We only three of us knew all those, you know, how to prepare those liquor coffees. The cashier was new, and the restaurant was, you know, just about few days old. Yeah. And Mr. Bitan is a person he's a great man. He you know, but as a challenge, this thing, he wants somebody to take up a decision. So what happened was, you know, I came up and I said, okay, Bitan, either you go and prepare those liqueur coffees or I go in, right? And Bitan wanted to, you know, felt it better that he would take up that challenge of, you know, making those liqueur coffees. With the station heads, I started controlling the restaurant part of it. And at a time, I felt that things were going absolutely wrong, you know, because the QOTs that were made were not going to the right, this thing. There were services which were getting delayed. The liqueur coffees was getting delayed. And everything, all odds started happening. And then, you know, and even what started happening was the invoicing, the billing to the clients was absolutely wrong. You know, it was going, you know, it was over punched, or it was under punched, or whatever it started happening. And we felt that things were going out of hand, and, you know, we really need to take an immediate decision as to what to do. And it was almost about 1:32 in the morning. And that is when I consulted Mr. You know, Mr. Bose, and I said, Bitan Bose, and I said, Bitan, let's do one thing. Let's you know, let's only build the you know, food. Let us leave the liquor part. Yeah. And he agreed to it. And, you know, it was not far off that we decided, no, we should give everything complimentary now, because things were going out of hand and people were really getting, you know, a bit, you know, they were a bit excited and having anxiety amongst themselves. So we decided that we should, you know, give it as a complimentary. So, you know, we came up with a plan stating that, you know, since Atrium is a new entity to Park, and India having won the Hero Cup, yeah, it's on the house, you know, for everybody, yeah, and we also set a time frame till this, you know, this time, you know, so which was very close, because we didn't want to leave it open to, you know, people to, you know, reach out to their friends, and they also make more of a rush within the you know, coffee shop. So we gave a complimentary of almost about 3 lakhs on that day. Yeah. And that decision entirely lied between Mr. Bitan Bose and myself. And we didn't know what would be the repercussion the next morning by the F&B manager, who was Mr. Subroto Bose, and you know, the vice president of the organization, Mr. Vijay Diwan, right? So we stayed back, you know, the other day to understand what the management had to say on this. And, you know, to the best of this thing, it was really appreciated by everybody, stating that, you know, with this kind of a situation that we came into, we could take, you know, such kind of a decision, you know, within us to, you know, give it complimentary. And this is what we said to the, you know, to the customers. So it was a great feeling, you know, again, a situational, incidents on handling.
Shivaji, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I would like to ask you at which point in your career did you decide to become an entrepreneur? That you have had enough of jobs and you decided to get into your own.
Yeah.
And what was the driving force? Like, why did you come to this decision?
Right. That is what I was coming to. Actually, having experienced myself in the field of hotels, both in food and accommodation, having worked with fine dining and quick service restaurants and even retail in food, it was 2008. When the recession started. Yeah. And being in retail, there was not much of a job to what we used to do in hotels. Retailing is more of an office kind of a job where you plan your category, you plan your segmentation and all that stuff. So it was not much of a challenge for me. And me as a person who always looks in for more challenges and adventures, I was always in for doing something of my own, right? And
what was the position that you were holding at that point in time?
At that point of time, I was heading and I was holding the position of the Vice President, Food and Beverage Services with Reliance Retail. And, that is when, where in late 2008, the recession started. And I thought, I need to do something else, because this was not the cup of tea that I am from, it was too much of a, a cushy job for me, sitting in the office and, spending just about 2-3 hours in the stores. So early 2009, about, I think so, late January 2009, I just thought, about myself. I did a total SWOT analysis for myself as to where I stand, if I have to start something of my own, yeah, and what that would be. There were many questions, what it would be, so then, having done a SWOT analysis, I came to a conclusion that since I'm a person with full of adventure and this thing, taking risk, so I thought, having this kind of an experience, rich experience, why don't I venture out into my own segmentation into accommodation and food as an entrepreneur? Again, a challenge came. What about the funding? What about the location? Yeah. And all this started coming in. So, then I decided I should not deviate from my core, which is the rooms division and the food and beverage division. March 2009, yeah, having worked with Reliance in the position of Vice President, Food and Beverage, and heading the entire country, it was a decision which was something wherein, I didn't know, whether I'm doing the right, I'm taking the right steps or not, right? It was a situation where the recession had hit, yeah, and my decision to start something of my own had a greater risk to a startup, also to the colleagues, that the people who would join had a great risk in a situation like that, if it so failed. I one day thought I should choose a location which will actually, you know, which I've heard many times. But I've never been to Mumbai. So I thought, let me start with Mumbai. ये बोलते हैं ये एक, you know, it's a city of opportunities. Yeah. And from Bangalore, you know, I thought, okay, let me start my venture into in the market of Mumbai. No clue about the market, no clue about where I would go, no clue to where the funding would come from. You know, I one day decided to board and reach Mumbai. I then decided I should be, as I already had decided that I'll be doing something in my own core. So I thought I will do a model, not as a service apartment, but I will do as a model wherein it is different from a service apartment. So I started with this, you know, concept wherein it was called a dedicated corporate service apartment concept. You know, it has a different module to it itself, yeah, which you know, which comprises of, you know, how it works is, you know, I'll just give you a gist, is it's a segment which is dedicated to a corporate as a whole, right? Having said that, what started happening was we now funding became a major issue in this. You know, funding became a major issue in this, and somehow, you know, we managed on the funding part of it, and I myself started with the marketing. You know, right from the scratch, I started with the marketing of my product. And, you know, that is when, you know, with a lot of hardship, I don't want to get into the hardship part of it, because with a lot of hardship and each segmentation, you know, how I did the marketing, how I also managed the operational part of it, you know, that is where in 2009, about in late March 2009, is when the incorporation of Concept Living Private Limited started. And that is where the journey started. And the first, you know, breakthrough I got through was about within a month, wherein the total invoicing was about 1.5 lakh. Yeah, that was the total invoicing it started. And, you know, I being a core, because funding was the issue, and I had, you know, the hardship and experience to myself, I started, you know, looking after the marketing part of it and the operational part of it. And slowly the organization started in 2009. And today, we you know, stand at about 50 crore company with two companies with us, which is KSS Concept Living Private Limited and Concept Management Services. Concept Management Services only deals with the management services on consultancy of hotels and management of hotels and corporate guest houses, and the dedicated corporate service apartments and the catering services is handled by KSS Concept Living Private Limited. As of now, we have two shareholders, and me and my wife, and I'm the managing director of the company, and we have very hand-picked, you know, corporates to ourselves. We don't go and, you know, just for the sake of taking up business, we don't go and take up business. We are very hand-picked in choosing our clients also, because we want a good association. We want to give the best what we can in terms of the product quality and the service, standards. And we have lately, also got into patient food, which has gone a big way now, because which is very technical, and not many players who really does it in a very technical and a systematic way in terms of dietary foods and patient food dietary. So we have ventured out in this for last about 2 years now, 2 years plus now, and we are doing very good in that. So that is where we stand as of now. Yes, sir.
Thanks, Shivaji. Thanks, Shivaji. Thank you very much. How many people are you employing right now?
As of now, we have approximately about 350 employees in total within the group, which is both the companies put together. And we have a very thin, head, very thin head. When I say this, as you all know, this industry is a very thin industry margin industry, and we have kept our top level very focused into a multi-skill kind of a structure, and we have also made it a kind of a system wherein a unit manager handles as a business manager, not only as an operational manager. So what has happened is our cost and cost factors have really gone down, and the scalability in terms of the skills and managerial skills and the operational skills has really helped us in a big way to handle the pockets within the whole country. And we have our presence pan India as of now.
Okay, your operational headquarters is in Bengaluru.
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Your operational headquarters is in Bengaluru.
Is in Bengaluru, yes.
Okay. And which are the cities that you are operating in?
We are handling in Delhi. We are there in Mumbai. We are there in Chennai. We are there in Bharuch. We are there in Raigad, Raipur. We were there in other locations too. We were there in Ahmedabad. We were there in Kolkata and other places where we have moved out because of situational issues and everything.
Now, Akshay, one of my colleagues, Akshay Nayan, he is senior faculty in the front office. He says, very inspiring talk, Mr. Hajra. So,
thank you. Thank you so much.
Now, yes, this is.
Good morning, Hajra sir.
Hi.
It's a very motivational talk, sir. Very motivational and inspiring talk.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Questions?
Yeah.
Please unmute your mics and you can ask questions, or you can put your questions in the chat box. Abhishek, please monitor the questions.
So, sir, Ridansh is asking, Hajra sir, the question for you. One of our students is asking, what advices do you have for us if we wish to become an entrepreneur? What you want to give as advice? He's a first year.
Right. A very good question. In fact, what happens is when we are into our college, and when you ask everybody, what do you want to become? About 90% of the people, they say, I want to open a restaurant, I want to open a hotel, I want to do this, I want to do that. Nobody talks about, very few talk about getting into the industry or, working in the industry. Here is a piece of advice which I strongly feel. I also had the same feeling when I was at that level. Yeah. And I always felt that, you know, even I'll also do something, you know, I'll open a restaurant, I'll have, you know, mobile, you know, catering carts and everything. So there was huge plans, you know, that we used to have and all that. My only advice to everybody would be, you know, experience really plays a very, very big role. Yeah, it really plays a very big role, because if once you have that kind of an expertise, having experience in your operational, in your, you know, skill set, in your management skills and all that, that will give you a lot of confidence, you know, and you know, your confidence will actually, you know, one day when you actually you know, work in those levels where you even understand how to plan a business, yeah, and execute that business, and believe in yourself to execute that, that is the time when you should venture out in your you know, entrepreneurship.
Thank you, sir. Sir, one more student, Chatak Kapoor, he is asking, what are the shortcomings we face in the industry?
In the industry, as in work wise?
Chatak, you can unmute your mic and you can ask the question.
Yeah, good morning, sir. So my question is like, what type of shortcomings we face in the working experience in the industry? My question is exactly that.
Okay. It's all about how you think. Yeah, it's all about how you think. There are a lot of shortcomings. Yeah, there are a lot of shortcomings in every field. Now the shortcomings that you generally get into our hotel industry is, you know, once we start our, you know, new career. Now we always want to get into as a management trainee or you know, HOT, hotel operational trainee, in a you know, big group or something. Yeah, but tell me, how many of them gets through? It's just about a percentage who gets through, right? The challenges, whatever it be, you know, I have seen people, yeah, who have risen, right, from basic levels to being entrepreneurs and have been doing great into this industry. Yeah, there are enormous you know, examples to talk about in this. So shortcomings can be classified, or there can be many, but it is on your wish as to how you would want to take it to.
One more question, sir. That what are the challenges if after completing our course we start with our own startups? So what are the challenges we will face in that?
See, it is very important. There are a lot of startups that have started as of now. Yeah, and if you go back and see to the success stories, yeah, it is always it is seen that, you know, there are, you know, behind the show there are experienced people in the frame. Yeah, and that's what counts. You can have, you know, you can have great ideas to do a startup, you know. You might fall short of experience, you might fall short of ideas in terms of how to take that as a process, you might fall short of funding, you might fall short of maybe various other areas. Yeah, but yes, startups have started in India, startups are really doing good, and over the years startups success percentage has grown very steadily into the Indian market. And I'm sure, you know, having an idea with great people behind you to support that, there is no stopping around.
I'm to interrupt here just for a moment. I'm sharing my feelings. with Chatak and everybody is that it's not enough to have a lot of money to invest in a startup. I may be a billionaire's son and I have a lot of money to invest, but actually running a business on a very, very rough classification note, I may say that there are two things. One is the operations, the other is man management. Now, operations, you can have, with your money, you can hire a person with a lot of knowledge. He can manage the operations. But it all boils down to man management, which only experience can give you. Because after all, you may have the latest equipment, the most expensive interiors and the software and the computers and everything, IT support, but it all boils down to man management, because it's human beings who manage the show, and that there's no substitute for experience. It's not a good idea that you just finish the program and then you start a startup, because you will be absolutely at sea as to what is happening, and you will have to depend on people at every step, and there will be the inputs that you give to the company will be either maybe wrongly placed, misplaced, or detrimental to the health of the operations.
Absolutely. Just to add to this, as Mr. Bhattacharya said, as I said, you can always do a startup. You can have a lot of money with yourself, and you can think that I have people behind, but your knowledge is where which will give you confidence. Your expertise will give you the confidence. Your people skills. At the end of the day, in a startup, and if you are a fresher, you have to always go back to somebody, on their experiences. So actually, you might have the idea, or you might be having the money to do it, but you might not have the expertise and the experience to actually run it. So, which is a great risk that you are going into. And the new startups, I won't, demotivate you. The percentage of new startup success is very, very, concerning. It's just about 2 to 3%. So just watch out on the success stories of new startups also in terms of a person who is very inexperienced into the field.
Sir, one of our chef Malakar, he is asking, what are the micro differences between working for someone and working for self? Which of them bring more happiness?
This is a very interesting question. Yeah. If you ask me personally, yeah, I have worked right from the lower level to a position of a CEO of a big organization. And when I was working, I always felt, yeah, there's so much of stress, there's so much of strain, there's so much of planning, there's so much of you have to give your inputs. You have to you are answerable to whatever you are doing, even at a CEO's level, right? It was always believed, I always used to feel that, yeah, bahut ho gaya, it's too much now, and I should do something of my own. And then I started, and the challenges were totally different. And I tell you one thing, today I have sleepless nights, even on today's date, having a fair 50 crore company with me and in my hands, I still have sleepless nights. And coming to what the question was, which one is more much better, or which one would you relish more? I think personally both of them has equal fun, and both of the areas has its own challenges and it's really interesting when you work with challenges. Whether you're working or whether it's your own enterprise. I am happy as a person working. I am happy as a person being an entrepreneur to myself.
Right, sir. So one of your tourism students, he is asking Abhay Tyagi, what is the perfect startup team? And what is the best, what is the perfect startup team? As a team, perfect startup team, what it should be the combination?
Perfect. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
And what best advice for a young startup team?
As I told you, I already addressed this basically. Perfect startup team, as Bhattacharya sir explained, your self-confidence, which can only come, which is operational excellence, your technical experience, and your managerial experiences. This can only come when you are working, when you have actually those experience, when you first are confident that you can do it yourself, right? And once you are there, you need to choose the right team, which is very, 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 very important. Very important. Yeah. Because right people is very scarce in the market. Very scarce, right? On today's date, if we talk about generations that has been coming, we have seen the creams, who had more of knowledge and technical know-how, where people who were there like Mr. Bhattacharya, right? They were, those were the knowledge hubs which was there. And on today's date, when you come, we come to a situation where when we are thinking how to do a startup, right? So, time has changed, but I will always say, on a startup, your team is very important. You should choose your team very, minutely, and you should have a very thin head. Don't make your organization a heavy head, because planning cannot be done by many people. Planning has to be done by few, and it has to be, agreed on, and it has to be executed.
Nice, sir. So one of our student, Vidansh, he is asking, after traveling far and wide across India and being experienced so much in life, what clicked you or what gave you the spark to become an entrepreneur?
As I said, I was always very adventurous throughout my life. Very adventurous. I always invited challenges. Even in my work career, I always invited challenges. I always was a person who took risks in my work and entrepreneurship. I've taken a lot of risks, to reach to the stage, where I stand. But yes, entrepreneurship is something wherein you have to have you should have self-motivation. You should have a passion. Only then get into it. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult to cope with it.
Right, sir. Akshay, one of our front office faculty, he is asking, what all things one has to think about and practices as an entrepreneur to ensure success in post-COVID period?
I didn't get the later part.
After this post-COVID period, as an entrepreneur, what are the things and practices as an entrepreneur, you should have in your mind? How to get success?
Right. See, this pandemic has really, given us a lot of challenges. Yeah, challenges which are absolutely, we never thought of. In our life, we have never come through such kind of a situation where a pandemic has hit, and it has hit globally, and it has created a big vacuum in terms of, you know, the economy as a whole. Now, what learnings to what we have actually done and what came good with this pandemic and was, we didn't have a, you know, one format business. We had different, though we are into you know, accommodation and food, but we have different formats, right? Formats like I would say like hospitals. We are into hospitals, as I said, you know, dietary foods, you know. With our planning, with our, you know, various formats, having hospitals as one of our, you know, formats has saved us, because hospitals is where, you know, is where you know, the shift has gone with this pandemic. Now on the other side, what has it, you know, what is the future that we should think about in this you know, post this COVID situation is, we really need to understand, you know, it's too early basically to actually say as to where we stand and where we should be going, but we need to plan as to what would be our future, because, you know, situations or things will not be the same to what it was, you know, pre the pandemic. So there are a lot of you know, things that we can think of, or there are a lot of hotels that we, you know, or the restaurant chains, what they have started doing is, you know, is you know, to start up with, they have started with you know, the deliveries, and they have started a process as to how there is a break you know, even in the delivery services, right? So there are many ideas that can come in. Yeah, there are many ideas that can come in, and it is too early to say as to how things would shape up in terms of you know, our industry, especially the food industry and the you know, accommodation industry to go forward.
Right, sir. One of our tourism student, Aditya, he is asking, what is the role of market research and analysis in business? What are the effective ways to conduct research and do analysis?
Okay, there can be various you know, research you know, engines that you can work on. Basically, you can give it you know, give it to an outsource agency based on what your research would be. You know, you can also do it. The best way is to do it yourself in terms of first understanding what your product is. You know, you have to first understand your product. Then you have to understand how the product is being reached by people. Yeah, how the product is being reached by people, and what are the means that come close to reaching those segments. Whether it is media, whether it is, you know, print, whether it is you know, social you know, coverage, you have to find basis the product which has the basic which has the fastest and the concrete reach to those people on that product segment.
Right, sir. Again, one of the BTTM students, he is asking, Abhay, according to you, which startup has the best stories to motivate?
Which startup has the
best story to motivate?
Story to motivate. Oh, great. That's mine.
Right.
That's obviously mine. If I talk about how my journey started, you know, I'm sure that one day maybe I'll plan my visit to your you know, university, and I'll you know, be privileged to talk about how you know, the challenges were and how we started, and this thing is it's my own organization.
Right, sir. And the same guy is asking the last question: how big factor is luck into a startup?
How big?
how big a factor is luck, LUCK, luck in a startup success? Is there any word called luck to get a success?
Okay, luck. Okay, luck. Okay. Oh, I personally, uh, I don't agree with the word called luck. I treat it as something which passes you through. You know, that's not my belief. Your hard work, your dedication, your motivation, your knowledge, your hardship, your confidence is the key. Luck will just go through, pass through. That is what I feel.
Very well said, sir. And okay, the last.
Thank you. We are. Do you have another question?
The last question, Chef Malakar has asked, what new opportunities or way of doing business can you suggest will flourish for small scale food business in post-COVID period?
Okay. Good question. Post-COVID, as I said, it is too early to understand. You know, it is like, you know, we had a lockdown when we had very less numbers of the people who were actually stricken. And today we are slowly opening up when even the infection has increased, if you see, right? So it is just like that. You have to understand, you know, at every stage as to what would be the best way of doing, an entrepreneurship post COVID. Yeah, post COVID. And it's too early basically to comment, because major players in the market, you know, major groups have also yet not come out with any kind of concrete plans or ideas as to how they would actually focus, because, you know, they have big infrastructure and they have big team to hold on to and think on those grounds, but nothing concrete has come yet. But hopefully by the days and with the situation that is coming, hopefully next about 3 to 6 months we should be a bit clear. I'm not saying fully clear, a bit clear as to where things would go, and to decide on those.
Right, sir. Director,
no, we are unfortunately we are limited by time. So let me take this opportunity to thank Shivaji. And my personal takeaway from whatever he said was probably all of you must have noticed. He said that to start with, he took on whichever business came his way, but then now later on, their business house, they insist on quality customers also. It's not quality that the customers only want from the suppliers, but this, if you want to maintain quality as a supplier also, as a business house also, you can be choosy about which business to take on, and that is a wonderful thought, because I personally feel that quantity kills quality. I go on taking whichever business comes my way, and after some time I find that the whole business might have increased in volume, but the quality takes a dip. And if I want to create a niche for myself and my business in terms of quality, I might as well be selective about the customers whom I take on. Am I right, Shivaji?
Absolutely.
That's what your take is.
Absolutely.
And thank you very much, Shivaji, and all the participants. And I cannot promise right now the time frame, but then we will have similar webinars in the future. For this stretch, today's is the last one. We are not planning anymore right now. But then once things are a little different, we'll have more such sessions. And Shivaji, be prepared to feature in them, because I'll be again calling on you to speak to our faculty and the students. Thank you, Shivaji.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Very informative session.
Thank you, Hajra sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Vinod. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, everyone. So we are ending up the webinar.
Bye, and thank you so much.
Thank you.